may say, John, bring your hand here a little bit, and then go from there. So we're going to transition back to the post position. He's going to sweep that leg through, and he's going to have a seat. And then I'm going to have him bridge up one more time. And again, he's going to have that nice alignment from the wrist, the knee, and the foot. Now from here, we need to get into the half kneeling. So I'm going to have John sit his butt back so he can transition into the split stance position or the lunge position. So John, you're going to go ahead and now just get the angles nailed down for your lunge. So he's going to reposition everything. Now at this position, this sets him up to go standing in the overhead position. So a couple things we're looking for. We want to make sure, again, bicep is by the ear. If there was a cup of water on here, we wouldn't spill it. We've got approximately a right angle here, approximately a right angle on his left knee, and he's going to drive through the ground to the standing position. Once he's here, the kettlebell is in the overhead position. All right, this is halfway through the get up. Now we're going to reverse it. So John is going to take a big step back, and he's going to land back to the deck. And again, we're back at that 90-90 lunge position. Now from here, we need to make sure that we're not going to throw our low back under the bus. So what we're going to do is we're going to have John windshield wiper this leg towards me. And then he's going to hinge. His hand is going to find the floor, and now we're back at that 90-90 position where the wrist, the knee, and the foot is in a straight line, and he's in this open kneeling position. From here, he needs to be really strong through the right leg and really strong through his left hand, because those two limbs are going to support the majority of his body weight. He's going to slide his leg through, and he's going to gently come back down to the floor, and now he's at that post position. He's going to come to the elbow, and then he's going to crunch his abs, control his body on the way back down. So that's the basic steps of the get up. Now what we're going to do is we're going to bring a shoe into the equation. Now why a shoe? There's nothing magical about the shoe. The shoe is going to give us feedback as to whether or not the kettlebell is truly in the overhead position, because if you don't understand how to make the transitions, adding an external load like a kettlebell is really a bad idea. So John is going to show us a beautiful get up with his shoe on his fist. Now, a couple things to consider. Don't put your hand in the shoe, because that defeats the whole purpose of it. So from here, John is going to go through the positions, and I'm going to torture him a little bit, but he knows what to do here. So we've got the shoe in the hand. He's going to roll to elbow, and then look, a nice vertical position, elbows underneath the shoulder. He's going to go up to the post. John knows these transitions. Now he's going to basically bridge up enough so he can swing his left leg through. And then he's going to get into that position where his wrist, his knee, and his foot is in a straight line, and he's at that right angle. From here, he's going to sit into his hips, and then he's going to get upright and transition into that lunge position or that 90-90 split stance position. The weight is overhead, and John's doing a fantastic job of owning that overhead position. Now we're halfway through. He's going to drop step, control on the way down. Now he's going to windshield wiper this foot towards me so he can demonstrate a nice hinge to the ground. From here, we've got that nice alignment, wrist, knee, and foot, open 90-degree angle, and then he's going to slide his leg through, and he's going to gently land on the floor. He's nice and stable. From there, he's going to come back down to the elbow, and then he's going to control his way down. Now John is going to demonstrate this with the kettlebell. We're going to show you a couple different angles. So from here, John is going to be in the side lying position. And you can't see it now, but his elbow is tight to his ribs. So from here, John's going to grasp the kettlebell with two hands, and then he's going to lie onto his back. He's going to bring the kettlebell with him. We don't want him to wrench his arm into this position. So he's going to come back, and then from there, he's going to press up into the floor press position. Now from here, I'm just going to have John do a basic get up at a pace that you're comfortable with, okay? So I'm just going to narrate through. So he's going to roll to elbow. Good. Then he goes up to the post. He bridges up enough to get into that transition. He sits into his hips. Then he goes into that vertical position. From here, he's at that 90-degree angle of his front and back knee. He stands up. The kettlebell is stacked overhead, biceps by the ear. He's got a nice drop step. Control. He's going to windshield wiper. He's going to hinge and find the floor. From here, he's going to sit his leg through. He's going to come down and slowly hit the ground, back to the elbow, and then control back down to the floor. Now, when he puts the kettlebell down and we move to the opposite side, it's super important that we don't bring that kettlebell over your face. Strong first, we always say, if you're not going to do it with a 48 kilo kettlebell, you shouldn't do it at all. So there's a couple different ways you can do it. You can basically pick it up and go the opposite side, or you can spin the kettlebell around your head. But let's do it from a different angle now so they can actually see the start position. Okay, so we're going to show you another angle. Now this is going to be a left-sided get-up, and pay attention to the start position here. So just hold on for 1 second. And again, you're going to see his elbow is tight to his ribs. That is a very strong position for John, and it's a very safe position for the shoulder. So from here, John is going to grip the kettlebell with 2 hands, and then he's going to roll to his back. He's going to go ahead and press the kettlebell with 1 or 2 hands. Either one's fine. And then we're at this position. We're going to roll up to the elbow. That stays vertical. He goes up to the post. And then he's going to bridge through, get into that half kneel position. He's going to sit into his hips. And then he goes into that vertical position at that 90-90 position, which looks like a lunge or a split squat. From here, he's just going to reverse it now. Find the floor. He's going to sweep his leg through or sit through, come back to the elbow, and then he's going to come back down to the start position. As he brings the kettlebell down, he's going to roll back into the side-lying position, and he's going to park the kettlebell safely. So a couple safety things. When you are doing get-ups, just pay attention to what's around you, because it is one of those exercises where you're moving quite a bit. So we want to make sure that we're safe. Again, never bring that kettlebell over your face, safety first. A couple things we want to focus on from a shoulder positioning, and let's get you to the roll to elbow position. And we want to make sure that we're just not shrugging our shoulders when we're into the elbow position or when we are into the post position. So let's get into the roll to elbow position for me, John. Without a kettlebell, yes. Just a couple quick tips here. Roll to elbow. Now, we want to be nice and solid through here. We want to make sure we're not shrugging. So show me a bad position, bud. This is not a strong or stable position. So we want him to pack his shoulder, actively push down. And that packed shoulder position, we're going to maintain through the way up and on the way down. He's going to come up to the post. And again, show me a bad position, bud. Bad and then good. All right, and now sometimes when you're teaching, people will learn from a bad position rather than trying to figure out what a good one is. So we really want to pay attention to this. Now, let's say we did a full get-up and we're coming back down. Nice and stable, come back down to the elbow. Pay attention to here. We want to make sure we're not shrugging. And especially on the way back down, he's going to control his body to the floor and really own that position. That's a huge component of the get-up. Some people just fall down, but we want to be deliberate with our movements. We want the kettlebell to do what we're asking of it. We don't want to react to the scenario, because that shows that you don't have control of it. So there's your basic components of the get-up. So once you've learned the basic steps of the get-up, we can use some slight shoulder rotations to find the optimal position for each step of the get-up. Now, when you do this, do it with a light kettlebell. This is not to be done with a heavy kettlebell. And what we're really trying to do is we're trying to find a nice, comfortable, solid position and a pain-free position for our students. So we want to make sure that, again, it's safe, but this is a little bit of movement exploration to find that sweet spot, okay? So we're going to go into the start position. So John's going to safely go to his back, and he's going to press the kettlebell up. And again, this is with a light kettlebell. So from here, I'm just going to have John do some light rotations with the kettlebell, and we want him to find a position that feels nice and solid for him. Now, everybody's going to be different, so you can do 2 to 3 rotations, see what feels good, and then you can actually go through each step of the get-up and do those rotations. So how's that feel? Pretty good? Good. And then good, he can hit a couple rotations here, and again, he can find that spot that feels good for him. That feels pretty good. Excellent. And he's going to come up to the post position and perform a a few more rotations, okay? Just make sure you're not rotating and moving your lower extremities at the same time. Now, in this position, this is a little different. So again, we need to make sure that we're in a nice, comfortable position. John is trying to basically determine what's the best point for him. And then he's gonna go transition into the half kneel. Now, you can do some rotations overhead, again, to find that sweet spot. And he's gonna stand up. He can hit those rotations again. And again, we're just trying to find that nice, particular spot that is gonna give him the most amount of stability and comfort. And he's gonna drop step, again, rotations once again. He's gonna windshield wiper the leg and he's gonna find the floor. And then go from there. So on the way up and on the way down, he's just gonna go through and determine, based off of feel, what's gonna be the best for him. Another beautiful point of these rotations are, if he's excessively shrugging his shoulders, it's gonna be a lot harder for him to rotate. So it almost acts as a little bit of a feedback tool. So once you understand the basic transitions of the getup, then you can explore what shoulder position is going to be optimal for you. But again, make sure that you respect the weight, make sure that you use a light weight, and just slowly move through those transitions. So now we're going to dive into another variation of the getup. Now, if you've spent any amount of time on the mats, you're going to have dinged up shoulders. You're going to have grumpy, grumpy upper back. That's just part of the sport. So the getup not only can be really therapeutic for improving overall shoulder health, but it allows you to press at different angles, which again can be therapeutic for the shoulders. Now, if you are someone that trains a lot of combat sports, going overhead with a lot of volume is probably not optimal for you, but here's a nice way that you can sneak in a little bit of pressing, but it's not gonna really overly tax the shoulder. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through the getup again, but we're gonna add in a press at each stage. Now, John is gonna perform this with a fairly light kettlebell. Now, make sure that you understand the transitions before you add the presses. And again, start light and then slowly add a load as you feel appropriate. So John's gonna go ahead and get to the position. He's gonna press. So he's gonna roll to the elbow. And from here, he's going to perform a press. Now, he's actively pulling like a one-arm pull-up or a one-arm chin-up, and then he's pressing. And then he goes to the position. And again, we're actively pulling. We're trying to focus on that active negative. And then he's gonna press up again. And then from here, he's going to bridge up and he's going to get into that half kneel position. Now, at this position, just pay attention because this angle can be a little bit tough to press from, but it's an amazing exercise for, again, improving mobility and stability. Now he's going to sit into his hips and he's going to go to the half kneel. He's going to give me a press, and this is going to mimic more of a true overhead military press. And then he's going to stand up. And again, he can do a press here as well. And now this is just going to be a regular military press. He's going to drop step and he's going to perform those presses at each transition. He's going to windshield wiper. He's going to half kneel press rather. Now he's going to windshield wiper. He's going to find the floor. He's going to do that active negative. Think about pulling the kettlebell towards you. Don't just respond to gravity. Actively pull. And then he's going to go through each stage of the getup with that press. Now, another beautiful part of this style of getup is you can develop some really strong and sturdy shoulders from pressing at various angles. And if you have a light kettlebell, let's say you don't have a ton of kettlebells around, you can go into this position with a 16. You can do 1 presses, 2 presses, etc. And you can accrue some nice volume with a very, very light kettlebell, and you're going to get a huge benefit.
Let's set some ground rules. Let's figure out some training principles. Let's identify some key points about training. Number 1, you already know that general physical preparation before special physical preparation. It's ridiculous when somebody tries to do some highly specific, sport-specific exercise without being able to do several strict, strong pull-ups with some added weight or being able to swing a heavy kettlebell.